Hello, Evolutionary Astrologer Brian Coulter here for your horoscope report for the upcoming new moon in Aquarius that happens on January 24th. And this is all about rebel energy. Aquarius, the rebel, the revolutionary, the genius, and this is quite powerful. Clearly, we've entered into the season of Aquarius. We have the moon and the sun in Aquarius. We have the Mercury in Aquarius, and right now they're in a square to Uranus. And let's go ahead and bring this up on the screen right away just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, as you can see here, we still have this Saturn-Pluto conjunction. That was the major subject matter of really my last two videos. And they're still in a conjunction. We're still feeling the pressure cooker energy of Saturn-Pluto quite strongly. The shadow side of these dynamics is really the old, outdated power structures of the world starting to lose their grip on humanity. And we're starting to rebel, basically. So far, very peacefully, and I think that will continue. But, you know, this Aquarius energy here is all about rebellious energy, especially when it's in a square aspect to its own ruler, Aquarius, or rather Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius. So this is a maximum rebellion pulse here that we're really feeling, pushing outward. We're feeling this itchiness to just break away from the constraints that have been placed on us for a long, long time. So that's the major focal point that I'm going to be talking about in great detail here. And then we also have another big one is Mars is in a square aspect to the Venus and the Neptune here. This is going to cover a couple bases, mainly relationship. However, it's going to connect to creativity as well. So that's the chart. So there's a lot of Earth energy in this chart right now. We have 4 of the 10 planets in Earth signs. We also have the south node of the moon in an Earth sign. Uranus, the planet of earthquakes and lightning bolts, feels a bit unstable or wobbly. So the collective is feeling a little bit on shaky ground right now. And we're feeling, you know, the quakes underneath us as the cracks begin to show in these old Saturnian and Plutonian structures that are starting to fall apart. And even, you know, the Earth itself feels a bit wobbly. I mean, Uranus is in the planet of Taurus, the sign most closely connected to Mother Earth. And, you know, we're getting fires and global warming and, you know, earthquakes and all this stuff. And I would suspect that trend to continue and accelerate. And, you know, weather's just getting really weird, you know, all over the globe. And is it man-made? You know, of course, we're probably not helping the problem, but it's been proven that really all the planets in our solar system are heating up. So to me, in my opinion, I think it has more to do with the sun cycles than anything else. But, you know, it's been a wild ride, that's for sure. The best thing we can do right now on a personal and collective level is tap into this Aquarius energy now and the next 2 weeks. And this will really be kind of a taste of events to come in 2021 once we go into the year of Aquarius, when Saturn and Jupiter enter that sign. But we're getting a taste of it now. We are being called to progressively evolve into the future that we want for ourselves. Aquarius, the revolutionary, is about evolution. It's about thinking ahead. It's about being individuated. And it's really the engine that drives social change. It's also an air sign. It's on the mental plane. So it represents ingenious ideas, inventiveness, thinking outside the box. It's like, okay, how in our lives can we further individuate? How can we become a truer, more unique expression of ourselves? So it's time to more deeply tap into our rebellious energy. It's like, in our personal lives, we can ask ourselves that question. How can I be more rebellious in my own personal life? How can I break free from constraints that, you know, I've created for myself or others have created for myself? How can I be more unique and individuated? And it's helpful to know your own birth chart and find out where Aquarius is in the wheel of your chart, what house it lands in your chart, so you can see where this new moon is occurring. And new moons are about new beginnings. So what new beginning can I make in my life where I can become a truer expression of who I really am. Maybe it's happening in the first house of your chart. It's a beautiful time. Here we find new moon, a time of new beginnings. In the first house of new beginnings, basically, there is some overlap there. It's about making important decisions. It's about forks in the road and going in a different direction, perhaps, and exercising some enlightened selfishness to go into a direction that will bring you more freedom in your life. Or maybe it's happening in the second house of your chart, classically known as the house of money. Where have I given up some of my freedom in my life for the sake of money? I mean, we're all a slave to money to a certain extent, but some illustrate this more than others. It's also the house of insecurities and self-worth. Needing to prove yourself to yourself. It's a house of skill building. Maybe you need to build some skills, bolster your dignity and your self-respect. Maybe even develop some courage to ask for a raise or something like this so you can feel more freedom in your life. Or the third house of your chart, house of communication, house of the voice. Where have you sacrificed your own rebel voice? Where have you not spoken your truth in your soul, because of, cultural or family expectations about what is proper behavior or what is the right thing to say? Yeah, Aquarius says, screw all that. I'm going to express myself in my own unique way, in a way that's more in alignment with my soul's essence. Or the fourth house of the chart, the house of home, family, hearth, and clan. Where have I given away too much of my freedom to family, whether it's my family of origin or the family I've created? How can I claim more freedom in my life around, my soul family relationships? And the fifth house of creative self-expression. How can I have a more unique, individuated way that I express what's in my heart to leave evidence of who I really am in the hands of the world instead of going through filters? That's a very hard thing to do. The sixth house of service work, responsibilities, duties in life. It's like, where can I free up some spare time in my life, my full calendar, so I can have more independence, more freedom? Give myself some breathing room. Maybe it has to deal literally with your work, your service work, It's like, how can I claim more freedom in that area of my life? So I'm not just doing wage slavery or drudgery. Aquarius is always about gaining more breathing room and more freedom and independence in your life. Seventh house of marriage and intimacy. Where have I given up too much of my freedom in relationship? Wow, it's like, that's a common one. A lot of compromise is involved. A lot of relationships are very codependent. It's like, I need some more breathing room, perhaps. Where can I become more individuated within the relationship? Maybe I can just go, 20 miles in a random direction on my metaphorical motorcycle, just feel the wind in my hair. Maybe I can ask for something that I need in the relationship that I've been avoiding. The eighth house is also a relationship house. It's the house of deep intimacy, deep bonding, honesty, truthfulness. It's where it represents our unconscious mind, where we bury our wounds. And of course, our wounds come out to play in our close relationships. So how has my wounding created me holding back from a clearer expression of who I am, of my own uniqueness in the relationship? It's a good time to set this new moon, this new beginning, to dive deep into yourself, to do some shadow work, to try to unleash the beast, that inner rebel, the real you that's been obscured through your own, psychological, emotional, or even karmic wounding. Ninth house, house of travel, education, philosophy. Aquarius loves being in the ninth house because they both, at the core, have this feeling of freedom to it. Aquarius is more freedom of expression, where ninth house is more freedom geographically, so maybe it's time to go on some traveling to feel that independence. Or maybe it's time to study something that is more in alignment with who you really are. Maybe it's something you were worried about other people judging you for learning, or, going in a new direction. Ninth house is about breaking up established, patterns and routines. Maybe you can break up the mundane in your life and go in a direction that's gives you more of a soul tickle, makes the hair stand up on your arms. It's a good indication that there's some excitement there, and you should go in that direction, and that's likely to be a path of individuation for you. 10th house, house of career, house of your mission in the world, house of your relationship to the community. How have you sacrificed some of what is really you in the world of mission and career? A lot of us pick careers because of learned behavior from either culture or family. It's like, oh, don't become an artist. That's not going to pay the bills, for example. That's a cliche one, but it's a common one. It's like, how can you go in a direction that's more mission-oriented in your life, that is in more alignment with the soul's essence of who you really are, your own inner rebel? 11th house, Aquarius naturally rules the 11th house. It's the house of future. Hopes and dreams and aspirations. It's a good time to create the new beginning, the new vision in your mind of this very unique future for yourself, different than anybody else's. So a good time to create your dream. Also a good time for social networking, and connecting with your friends. It's also the house of friends. In 12th house, the house of meditation, house of consciousness and spirituality. How can we do some navel gazing? How can we dive within, sit in Zazen, and tap into our own rebel spirit? Tap into our unique soul's expression. And that's interesting. I'm actually, at the end of this video, going to do a guided meditation. I've gotten a lot of requests to do that, so I'm going to integrate the two after I'm done with the theory piece of that. Now, that's me briefly going over the houses, but, it's also important to take into consideration any planets that are in those houses of your birth chart, any aspects that they're forming, the new moon's forming to other planets in your birth chart. Also, the general tone and texture of your birth chart, whether you've got a lot of earth energy or water energy or fire energy in your chart, that's going to color it too. It gets pretty complex, but just contemplating on the houses alone is tremendously helpful, because it represents a pie slice of life, that we can focus our attention on and see how we can cultivate more of this rebel energy within ourselves. Aquarius is about breaking free from the constraints of expected behavior from the mainstream, whether that's from culture or from family or the larger framework of history. It's always stepping outside of predictable scripts. And a lot of people are very comfortable with the predictable scripts, the herd instinct is a powerful one. And after all, we're social creatures. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think we could all use a little bit of individuation. And a good thing to ask ourselves is like, how can we more deeply individuate so that we can bring our own unique expression and help provide our own perspective to our evolving world? So let's turn our attention to this Mars square Venus and Neptune. And this is, at least on one level, about relationship, because Mars is the god of war. It represents the divine masculine. And here it is in this hard angle, this 90-degree square to the Venus and Neptune. And Venus, sweet Madam Venus, she's the goddess of love. She's the divine feminine. So divine masculine, divine feminine, facing off. And then Neptune's in the mix as well. Neptune is a very spiritual, mystical planet. It's a very transcendent planet. Represents different levels of different dimensions of reality, even God consciousness. So it's interesting that we have Venus and Neptune right next to each other in the sky, because they represent, at least on the planets, the two faces of love. Neptune's more about unconditional love, where Venus is more about conditional human love. And here they are next to each other. This is very lovely, And then we have Mars in the mix, giving it some fire. It's like you put the divine masculine, right in a face-off with the divine feminine, and you bring them really close, just staring at each other, and you say, don't touch. It's like you feel the heat there. You feel the friction through the square. It's pretty hot. This is a very sexy aspect, and it could actually make for some pretty good lovemaking, to be honest. because that heat brings that about, that passion. And also with Neptune in the mix, dealing with higher dimensions of reality, this could be even potentially some very ecstatic lovemaking, transcendent lovemaking. Makes me think of Tantra, maybe, for whoever out there is into that. This is a good recipe for that, at least energetically from the planets. But we always got to remember what we've said, the overarching theme of Aquarius and Uranus here. Always about breaking free from constraints. So where have you felt constrained in your loving relationships? Mars is about developing some courage, setting healthy boundaries, asserting oneself. So maybe you can assert yourself in some way where you've been sacrificing too much of your true soul's nature in the relationship and claiming more of what you need. Aquarius loves freedom and independence. So claiming what you need in the relationship, not with anger, that's shadow side Mars, but with strength. And if you get flack for it, if they don't understand, that's okay. Remain compassionate. Tap into that Neptunian compassion. It's like a good Aquarian mantra is, if you like me, that's great. If not, that's interesting. I am who I am. I resolve to be who I am. And having the angel's point of view, the Neptunian point of view, is like, here we are, these souls squished into these monkey bodies. And here we are shining our life light, our soul, through these very flawed personalities, because of the ego and all this learned behavior and our emotional traumas. It's very muddy, right? And we're doing the best we can. You yourself, you're doing the best they can, and everybody else is. But just doing your part, working with this energy and saying, this is what I need for myself. If you like me, that's great. If not, that's interesting. That's a beautiful Aquarian line. Neptune wants us to transcend our egoic fixations about our differences and limitations and imperfections, and lovingly claim our uniqueness, regardless of the consequences. And for those of you who are single, Mars says, okay, it's time to become braver. It's time to take action. Assert yourself. Create that new dating profile that puts some more of your Aquarian energy out there, your rebel spirit. I am who I am. If you like me, that's great. If not, that's interesting. Or maybe you got the hots for somebody in your life and you're too scared to ask them out. Now's a good time to do it. Even if you're a female. I know that goes against social norms, but Aquarius says, screw social norms. Maybe it's time to break up the pattern, do something that's thinking outside the box, and take some action. And if you fall on your face, if they say no, rejection sucks. I know, trust me, I've felt it many, many times. It's terrible. Okay, but then you tap into Neptune, have some compassion. Recognize that, okay, that wasn't part of the divine plan, but instead of feeling terrible for the rejection, it's like honor the fact that you are now a braver person than you were before you asked them, because you cultivated some more of that Mars in you. And honoring it as an evolutionary path. That's the Neptunian view. And who knows, maybe it'll work out. Maybe this person you have the hots for will say yes, and then boom, there you go. This is also a wonderful time for creative self-expression. Mystical Neptune tapping into higher dimensional energies and creativity. Venus is the goddess of love, yes, but also the goddess of the arts. And both these planets are in Pisces, the mystic, the dreamer, the poet. The ability to just channel divine inspiration, coupled with the inventiveness of the Uranus and the Aquarius. It's beautiful. And if you can do something that scares you in the creative world, better yet, that's just sprinkling in some Mars as well. Pushing yourself out there to creatively express yourself in an environment that you normally wouldn't, expanding your comfort zones. New moons are a perfect time for planting new seeds and creating new intentions for yourself moving forward. And beautiful evolutionary astrology questions to ask yourself during this new moon period are, where can I express more of my uniqueness? And if the idea scares you, all the better, because Mars is in the mix. And the other question would be, where in my life have I sacrificed too much of myself because of the expectations of others, whether they be from culture or family? Tapping into more Aquarian energy. It's like, if you like me, that's wonderful. Thank you. If not, that's interesting. That's that, ongoing sort of living mantra, the Aquarian mantra, so to speak. And the more you live through that energy over the next couple weeks, the more you individuate and you get rid of the learned behavior and are more in alignment with the part of you that's real, your soul, the part of you that's been evolving over lifetimes. And this is how you can be a rebel with a cause for your own freedom and independence. And that's the evolutionary intention for the next couple weeks through the astrology perspective. I hope you enjoyed this. And this is the end of the theory part of this discussion. Now I want to transition into meditation. I've created a meditation here to work closely with these archetypal energies of not only the Earth planets, the shakiness affecting planet Earth, but also tapping into the Neptunian compassion to set this collective magic spell of peace on Earth, and then transitioning into tapping into that Aquarius energy and tapping into our own uniqueness. And actually, I'm doing this in a very Aquarian way, because I'm going to infuse some binaural beats, some music, some background music into this meditation. And this is how, in very Aquarian fashion, we can leverage technology for spiritual means. And the binaural beat is music, but it has a slightly different tone in each ear. You can't tell. It's very soft. And what that does is it balances the energy in both hemispheres of the brain and allows you to think and sink into that theta state or deep trance state very, very quickly, so we can do our deep meditative work. So it's helpful to listen with headphones so that you can have the effect from the binaural beats. Make sure you're sitting comfortably. You can just sit in a chair and try to sit towards the front of the chair, because that will help to support a nice straight spine. That's your main energy channel in your body. And keep your feet flat on the ground. And just begin focusing on your breath, breathing into your belly on the inhale, and then breathing out from the belly on the exhale. Nice, comfortable, rhythmic breathing. About 4 seconds per inhale, 4 seconds per exhale. Try to feel your heartbeat. See if you can match the heartbeat with the breath. 4 heartbeats per inhale, 4 heartbeats per exhale. Now bring your awareness down to your feet. Feel your feet flat on the ground. Wiggle your toes a little bit. Feel into the grounded feeling of having your feet flat on the ground. Visualize a snow-white color in both your feet. Each time you inhale, you see the white get brighter and brighter. You feel all the muscles in your feet relax. Now bring the color up to your ankles. 4 heartbeats per inhale, 4 heartbeats per exhale. Now bring the snow white color up through your calves. Feel your calf muscles relax. Feel a warming sensation in your lower legs. Keep with the rhythmic breathing. Bring the snow white color up into the thighs now. See it as vividly as you can. Hold the visualization. Feeling your legs relax. Now bring the color up into the pelvis area. You see your entire lower body snow white as it gets brighter and brighter. Now up into the abdomen. Feel all the organs in the abdomen soften and relax. Steady breathing. Now up into the chest area, snow white color. You feel the energy strongly in the chest with all the energy centers there. Move the white energy into the upper arms, elbows, forearms, and now into the hands. Feel the energy in your hands. Now bring the visualization up to the neck area. Feel the neck soften. Up and over the back of the head, to the top of the head, down the forehead, eyes, nose, mouth and chin. See your entire body as a snow white color. Your consciousness is becoming lighter and no longer hindered by heavy thoughts and emotions. Now begin to expand your consciousness in every direction from where you are sitting. It passes out of the building, above the trees, like a growing bubble, until you can see the town in which you live. A lovely rose light pours out from your heart center, blanketing your entire neighbor's home, and then the whole neighborhood. And finally, the entire town. This pink color is coming out of your heart center. You feel joy. You feel peace. You feel love. Continue to expand to the point where you can see your entire country. Perhaps there is trouble in some part of it. Your heart continues to pour out love for all. The whole country is now covered in this misty rose-colored light. You can focus on Australia and the fires there. Send the people your love and support. Now spread your awareness to encompass first the cloud cover, and then the atmosphere. Now you can see the whole planet. It's a gorgeous paradise of deep blue oceans, vast mountain ranges, and lush plains. You're aware there is fighting in various parts of the world, and great unhappiness and suffering. And you want to help. From where you are, there are no borders marked and no lines separating people. It is one world. All trouble is born out of ignorance and misunderstanding. We want to love one another and live in peace. And your heart is a river of rose light which floods the areas of trouble on the globe with peace and love. Visualize millions of smiling faces bathed in the rosy light. You see men laying down their guns and embracing one another in common brotherhood. You see people giving food and clothes to others in need. See this pink color as vividly as you can and express love and peace from your heart. Now you see the planet move towards you and nestle in your heart. Moments ago you were on the planet, and now the planet is in you. Keep the planet in your heart. We need your love. Now focus on your heart center. And ask yourself the question, who am I? And forget your name and your gender. Ask yourself, I am a living being, but what am I as life? I am I. I am that I am. But I want to know what my I-ness really is. I find my divine nature, my I-ness, my soul, is now covered with a name, thoughts, emotions, and a body. Now I want to find my I-ness, my real self, the I am. Which is far beyond this third-dimensional reality. Now, as a personality, I want to feel this I am. Now complete the circle and say, I am I. I want my I-ness, the ineffable, the incorruptible, to express through my personality unobscured by learned behavior. Where in my current life can I express my I-ness? I shine through pure and unique. I have something to provide to the human future. I am an extension of God. I am love. Focus on your breath again. And start to wiggle your toes and fingers. Come back to reality, so to speak. And you're welcome to bathe in this connection to the divine as long as you want. Or open your eyes. This is really a combination of two different meditations. But I love this combination for the archetypal energies that we're experiencing right now. With the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, we're definitely feeling the pressure. And the world could use a lot of love right now, a lot of peace. So the beginning part of this meditation was first relaxing, but then sending out love to all and compassion, and really tapping into that Neptunian spirit of unconditional love. And then we transitioned into making strong affirmative statements and connecting to the part of us that is infinite. And that's the part of us that's been evolving over lifetimes. And that's the part of us that expresses our true uniqueness. And that divine uniqueness gets covered up and obscured from what we learn, basically, from the family we're born into and the culture. And we're basically, all of us, are collision zones of essence and training. So this meditation is a beautiful way to connect more deeply with our essence so that we can express more of our inner rebel, so to speak. As always, thanks for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.